Hello, everyone. John Coleman here. I hope you all had a very good bank holiday weekend. Today, I want to focus on basically um, the price of properties. I keep getting asked, are they going to come down? Because obviously, people are still getting very frustrated with bidding wars, losing out on properties. And there's a feeling that people keep saying, well, at what point do prices begin to fall? Obviously, we had a crash in Ireland before, back in 2008 and 2009. Um, so I want to go through a great article that I came across yesterday in the Independent with the guy, with the economist who actually predicted um, the crash back then, and just to kind of give his sense of where he sees the market out right now. And then I want to give a little bit just more um, detail based on the numbers that are out there just in terms of supply. So that's what I want to do today, just to kind of give people a sense of what's happening on price and to help people plan accordingly. So this guy, a guy called Alan Ahern, he was the guy who basically predicted back in April 2007 that there was a crash on the way. Okay, he was also had been the economic advisor for me, Hall Martin, for the last 4.5 years. So he was basically he just doesn't think, like he said, he was talking about a house price in that loan, and he's saying there's a house in that loan, a three-bed house, going for 550,000, and he says he just doesn't think that house is going to stop there. He looks in basically the estate windows and sees, oh my God, this is very exciting. But it's just that there is a strong demand. And this is what I've been saying myself for a while now, that just supply isn't in line with the demand. His view is, and this is where this is the interesting, we have one of the largest population growths in Europe. Um, we're not building 93,000 like we did in the run up to where the crash happened in 2008. We're only building 33,000. So with the excess demand, that's going to be reflected in the price. Um, back in the run up before the crash, um, where we there's no unemployment now. There's no builders that are looking for more work. Previously, we would have taken a lot of people in from Eastern Europe, Poland in particular, to help um, build properties. They're just not available. They're just not coming. Their salaries in their own home countries have got to the point whereby they don't need to come to Ireland. Previously, they would have come over here, worked for the week, and then they would have taken a €10 flight back with Ryanair back back home. That's not available. So at the moment, we're very limited in ways of building the supply because we just don't have the manpower to do it. He basically said that as long as the population continues to grow, the economy remains strong, and the interest rates remain low, there's going to be continued upward price pressure on the prices. He isn't foreseeing any crash. All the pressure is upwards. Now, obviously, he's saying that there's a lot of worrying developments on a global stage, but he said um, in theory, most people, as it stands, are still quite optimistic and reasonably so. And I'm would be experiencing the same level of well, the uncertainty in the world isn't affecting the demand from what I can see currently. Um, now, he he does feel that at some point, like it can't go on forever, but he just doesn't see it changing at this moment in time. So basically, he's seeing that at some point the prices will begin to stabilize when supply um, has improved. But he does feel that that will take us several years. So it's certainly not going to happen anyways anytime soon. So for anyone out there looking for the market to crash and waiting, they might be waiting a while if this guy is to be believed. For me, I always tell people forecasting into the future is a very difficult game, and I would always only ever take a 12-month, 24-month view on it, and it's still always subject to strange things happening in the world. Now, obviously, we had COVID, the prices didn't go down. We had interest rates going up by 4%, prices didn't go down, and they've continued to rise. Now we have Donald Trump in the world creating uncertainty, but as it stands, and from what I've seen, demand isn't going anywhere, and the supply is what can't be changed. So the gap between supply and demand is so big, and we don't have the wherewithal to increase it at the speed that is needed. So my view on it still would be prices will continue to rise. By how much will all depend on what's really happening in the world and the interest rate world. Just to put some real kind of data on that article, here's a report that shows the stock availability, right? Um, so basically, at the moment, currently on my home.ie, there is 12,500 houses for sale, literally just up 1% on the same period of last year. This kind of historic lows kind of give you a sense of where it's at. Pre um, pre-COVID, there was 20,000. So that's, if you take away 10, it's almost um, well, I'm trying to do the maths at the top of my head, but it's definitely if you take it's over 33% down pre-COVID in relation to the available time. So and the houses are selling so quickly now. It's now 2.6 months close to a historic low. So um, those housing stock availability figures would certainly um, back up the concept that I'm putting forward and this economist is saying as well. I take his word more than mine. In truth, he predicted the crash, but that's where we are. And I'm just going to give you a quick sense of what's happening on the interest rate side of things as well.
Right, just in relation to the interest rates, the ECB held their July rate at 2%. Um, Basically, they'd cut it by 2% since the beginning of last summer. Obviously, the tension that's going on between the US and the UK kind of um, made people think that there is a lot of uncertainty and the expectation is, and we seem to be at the close to the end of the easing of interest rates. And they reckon there's just a 75% chance of another quarter percent cut in the next 12 months. So that's a very strong indicator that we are really at the bottom of the interest rate cycle. Um, at the moment, there's a sort of a sense of, again, this is just backing up the demand. Um, First time buyers are looking to borrow as much as they possibly can. Like they tend to be borrowing anywhere between 3.75 and 4 times their income. Um, and that's 33%, where in 2023, and it was only 25%. So literally the demand for money is growing and growing all the time. And obviously with the rates being very low, it's certainly impacting on prices. So there's the overview of um, prices, and it's obviously something that's I continue to keep a very active watch on. And if the market conditions change, we'll bring it straight to your attention, because ultimately my role here is an education role to help you understand where you're at when it comes to buying a home and arming yourself with as much information as possible. So I always say to people when you're having this conversation, you need to kind of go, well, do we work with what we can do right now, or do we wait till our circumstances change or the world circumstances change to do what we actually want? There's no right or wrong answer to that question, but in real terms, getting an understanding as to where you're at, getting an understanding as to how close you might be to what you ultimately want to do, will help you make a decision as to whether you should look to move forward now or wait. Obviously, we're always here to answer any questions and help you with with what we call a mortgage roadmap. So, listen, enjoy August. I can't believe we're soon going to be in September. It scares me. Anyway, all the best for now, and thanks for listening. Bye.